let's see here. So now we are in a point where Mark Zuckerberg is um, actually looking good. He's actually having his hot girl summer moment right now. Um, Threads went from 0 to 100 million users within a couple of days. It's probably the fastest adoption, faster than ChatGPT, which was insanely fast at getting people to adopt it or to log in or to sign up for it. It was insane. So now we are at a point where um, you've got Mark Zuckerberg looking pretty good, Elon Musk in a panic mode. The usage of Twitter, if you look at like domain name level or DNS level usage, Twitter's been going down pretty consistently over the last month and a half to 2 months. You've also got people like me who are excited about what Threads could do as a marketer. So as of today, over 100 million users. Society is talking about it. They're talking about it positively. And I like to give the analogy right now, Threads is like the first day of high school. Everyone's nice. Everyone's on their best behavior. Everyone's butt sniffing to find out, who's the alpha, who's in charge, who's doing what, what's being shared. They're waiting to see who's going to be the class president, who's going to be the bullies, who's going to win the popularity contest. It really is a wait and see impact effect. And it's a lot of fun. Now, um, Mark Zuckerberg is definitely having that hot girl summer moment. And in fact, um, I'll just love to show this is, even the Wall Street Journal, who is now on Threads, New York Times now on Threads, the NPR is not only now on Threads, but unlike Twitter, they're no longer considered a rogue state media outlet. And if you remember, Twitter actually called or designated NPR as a rogue state media outlet, which really, got them off of the platform. So now they're back on through Threads. So Mark Zuckerberg is definitely having, this great moment. And I love somebody's comment to the Wall Street Journal article that came out the other day. That he really is, maybe he is planning to take over the world with his, instead of having the 5 stones, infinity stones, he's got the 5 social apps. We'll see what happens there. But back to the B2B marketing side of things, I decided to ask a question on LinkedIn. And I asked the question, what is your B2B Threads strategy? And that kind of assumes there is a strategy and kind of assumes it sort of asks the question. It's a leading question. But here's what we got as far as responses. 32% of people said that. So the question is, what's your B2B Thread strategy? And the options were, number 1, it will replace Twitter. Number 2, I'll add it to the mix. Number 3, I'm sticking with Twitter. And number 4 is other, and please explain. And so the question or the answer, it will replace Twitter, got 32% of the votes. I'll add it to the mix, got 35% of the votes. 26% said I'm sticking with Twitter, and 6% said other. And we'll talk about the comments in just a moment that came in from it. In fact, Julia Wiltshire had a great comment that I think has a lot of importance. But let's go back to the first 2. It will replace Twitter, or I'll add it to the mix. That's 32% and 35%. So 67% of people are now embedding this into a part of their social media strategy. 32% of people said it will replace Twitter, and this thing has only been alive for about 5 days. It has only been alive for about 5 days. And now people are saying, I'm going to replace Twitter with this thing, which, by the way, they have not been able to do that in the past. So, pretty interesting information there. And then we'll go to the other comment. One of the things that the blessing and the curse of Threads is that it is inextricably tied into Instagram. It's tied into the Meta platform. As of right now, I'll also let me back up a little bit and say, Threads decided to launch early. Think of it back in the days of the early stage startups that are just, move fast and break stuff. Threads decided to launch early right after they found out that Twitter was planning to throttle people's utilization. And I don't remember the reason why. I don't care the reason why. All I know is after a certain amount of time, Twitter was basically dead to me and I had to go somewhere else. So Threads has this virtually limitless capacity because it's built on the backbone of Instagram and Facebook. So obviously it's a pretty robust platform. Um, Threads utilizes Instagram's login to, basically be that single sign in to all the meta stuff. And there's a blessing and a curse. Because they launched early to take advantage of the timing um, of Twitter's issues, they probably didn't get some of the features they wanted to in. So one of the concerns is if you want to delete your Threads account, you actually have to delete your Instagram account as well. So they're tied together, and that can be bad. It could be considered a trap. It could be considered a glitch. And so thank you for Julia making that comment and bringing that good perspective to the table. The other thing is there's not DMs. There's not actually advertising on the platform yet. And we'll see how they choose to monetize it. Maybe, back to the old thing that if a product is free, you are the product. Maybe they're going to utilize the data from it. Who knows? But there's some interesting data in this survey. And again, not a hugely scientific survey. I just asked people. And, a better data scientist would probably ask a less leading question. But the fact that 32% of B2B marketers are going to replace Twitter with Threads and 35% are going to add it to the mix means a lot of things are about to happen. Number one, you're going to start to see a lot more businesses showing up on Threads. And I strongly, strongly suggest for every B2B marketer, set up your personal account. You probably already have an Instagram account. If you're like me, you haven't used Instagram in a long time. It's just sort of been that app that's been sitting there in the corner and it just really hasn't had a lot of purpose. And what I found was once I used Instagram to get me signed up to Threads, I actually started checking Instagram a little bit more often. And there's some things I liked and, there's some things that are very interesting. And so if Threads replaces my Twitter purpose, then there might be some use for Instagram as well. So it might have this sort of boomerang effect to bring back Instagram as a viable platform for B2B. So I think that's a really important, factoid that I think we're going to see a lot of integration. Instagram is really a pictures or a visual oriented platform. Threads is basically a more text oriented platform that can do pictures, and Instagram can do words. But I think they're going to be very closely tied together. You also see that the people that are influencers on Instagram, the people who have a large following on Instagram, really have the unfair advantage of being pulling in big audiences on Threads as well. And so that makes it a little bit more of the Kardashian syndrome or the, other celebrity syndrome. But you are seeing a lot of B2B coming into place. So as a B2B marketer, it's really important that you study this, that you sign up personally and start to follow, B2B, start to follow some of these larger brands that are adopting it. I've already seen most of the large B2B tech brands getting on there somehow. Now, the beauty of it right now is there's not third-party applications tied into it. So you can't add it to Hootsuite just yet. You can't add it into HubSpot just yet. You can't add it into, the other social media management platforms just yet. So people that are on there are being very intentional about what they put on there. And it's awesome. It's like back to the good old days before there was so much automation and so much cross-pollination of platforms. And people actually have to use their actual phones in order to post. Either that, or you can, put it up on an iPad, but you really can't go to a web browser and utilize it the way that you can all these other platforms. So for right now, it's a very intentional platform. So pay attention, see what people are doing, see what people are saying. Second thing is, go ahead and get your business's profile right away. Whether you're active with it or not, you want to get signed up with it right away. You don't want someone else to take that. You don't want someone else to try to use yours. You want to get in as early as you can. And you might say early, well, there's already 100 million users. Well, there's, billions of people around the world. And by the way, Threads is not in a lot of countries. It's not in Europe right now because of privacy rules. I'm sure that's going to change really soon. Um, but you want to get your platform there right now, as soon as possible. Um, and again, you want to capture that name that you'd like to have. You want to make sure that you've got your profile there. You've got your description. You've got how do people can follow you. You've got your company URL. All those things that are just the basic building blocks of having yourself at that platform. Study it for a couple of days. Watch it for a couple of days. Don't do anything. But I say pay attention to a couple of brands, even if they're not B2B. One of the most fun thread brands or handles to watch is actually Wendy's, the hamburger joint. Um, they're doing some really fun, entertaining stuff and pushing the envelope of how to get a brand out there and how to get people to see and like and love the brand. Um, so pay attention to them. There's quite a few others that are getting on there and having a lot of fun. So find some B2B brands you like in general and start to follow those. And then have your business start to follow some of those other B2B brands as well. If you've got channel partners, this is a great time to, start building that trust and that cross pollination with your channel partners. If you've got clients you love, it's a great time to get it in. I do feel there have been a lot of wannabe Twitter killers. And I don't know if this is going to kill Twitter. I don't want to opine. I don't want to give ideas. I don't want to give suggestions. I do know what I wish, but sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. But I do think that this is going to be the platform of choice for microblogging, right? What Twitter originally was supposed to be. And it doesn't have to turn a profit yet. But you take the advertising capability and highly targeted advertising capability of Facebook and Instagram, and you add this to it, and it could be an advertiser's dream, theoretically. Because LinkedIn is good, but it's expensive, and it's the targeting is a lot to be desired. Twitter advertising, I haven't seen anybody make it so hard to spend your money with them, and it is a challenge. If Meta does with Threads what it's done with Facebook and what it's done with Instagram, which there's no reason why it shouldn't, then it's going to be an advertiser's dream. Highly targeted, highly usage driven, a lot of intent, a lot of activity there. So, and then they are going to be able to cross pollinate between Facebook and Instagram and your threads. So yeah, lots of data is going to be exchanged. Yeah. Just like every other social media platform that you don't pay for. If you don't pay for something, you are the product. You are definitely the product. But as a B2B marketer, as someone who is responsible for revenue, responsible for awareness building, responsible for brand reputation, responsible for people understanding what you're all about at the core, at the sort of who level and the why level, then this is going to be a platform you want to adopt. That's it. That's the show. That's all we've got to share today. I would love to know what you're seeing with Threads. I would love for you to send me a note on LinkedIn, email me, Brett at growpowerful.io. Hit me up on Threads. I'm at Brett Sklar, BRETTSCHKLAR. Follow Grow Powerful. We're going to do some fun things on Threads, and that is at grow.powerful. And just make some comments on this. I definitely, whether you're watching this on YouTube or LinkedIn Live, or you're watching it live, or you're watching it recorded, um, I want to know what you're thinking, what you're seeing, and what you're doing, because I think this can be, the earlier ones who get in can probably make hay of it much easier than the ones who get in late. That's it. Thanks, everybody, and I appreciate it and hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.